Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the European Minor Closed Qualifier. It is, of course, the second day. Once again, it's myself and Mitch to take you through the initial action. And we already have, of course, 4 teams who have qualified. There's going to be another 4 who are going to make it through today. And we had with some pretty first games yesterday.
Yeah, there were some close matchups, some upsets. Like so Wendigo, we caught them on stream early on. That was pretty interesting. Let's take a look at the bracket, though, and see all the matches that went down. Of course, you have Mousesports, Wendigo, Optic, and North making it through. A pretty interesting series there as Wendigo took down Valiance 2-0. Mousesports with a 2-1 win over Vitality. I think you would have seen that one coming, going into it. And that's the first day, kind of going a little bit as expected, with the exception, I think, Wendigo were the real upsets there, right? Taking down ENCE, who we're going to see in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think another kind of one that caught me a little bit off guard was North being able to take that 2-0 against Space Soldiers. Not really something that I was expecting, but yeah, of course, as you said, Mousesports, Wendigo, Optic, and North are the first 4 to have made it through, and there will be, of course, 4 more to make it through today. As you can see, this is now the lower bracket, which we are going to be going through. XCOM taking on VP, LDLC versus ENCE, which is what we are, of course, going to start off with today. Mixtura against Fragsters, and Team Kinguin up against Sprout. And already waiting for them in the next round is Space Soldiers, Heroic, Valiance, and Vitality. So still a lot of big names there that are yet to make it through, and of course only 4 of them will be able to qualify.
Yeah, as you can see, I mean, it's going to be a long enough road for the teams we're going to see towards the start of the day. ENCE and LDLC will be butting heads in a couple minutes here, and of course they've got to then take down Heroic if they want their place in the minor. It is going to be a difficult road, and we'll be taking you through, I think it's LDLC, ENCE, and then Kinguin and Sprout a little bit later on. And looking at this game, LDLC and ENCE, we've got Dust2 coming out first, Nuke second, and then Mirage as the third map. This, I think, Vito is set up to be a very, very competitive 3 maps.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised that we see Dust2, Nuke, and Mirage just because of yesterday, the performance that ENCE showed against Wendigo. We wanted to see them stay away from Inferno and Train. They did not show any sort of really positives at all when they were up against Wendigo. So coming in here, Dust2 being the choice of LDLC, of course, it's a map that they are pretty confident on. Statistically, one of their better maps overall. Nuke, I guess, it's pretty solid for ENCE, but I feel like LDLC will also be able to put up a pretty solid fight on it. So I feel like overall this Vito has gone into a position where it should be pretty equal between both teams. Dust2
is the map we actually missed out on seeing yesterday. Of course, ENCE were due to take Wendigo on over on that map, but it didn't come through because, of course, Inferno and Train were just convincing victories. As for LDLC, they were taking Valiance on. Got to reboot the memory there a little bit, and it was they played on Mirage and Nuke. They lost both maps. It was a 3-round T side on Mirage and a 4-round CT on Nuke. So a couple warning signs there flashing up because, of course, we're going to see those maps again in this series. Hopefully they'll be able to recover from the previous mishaps because it's certainly not going to be an easy victory against ENCE, that's for sure. They were still performing pretty well on an individual level on most players. The likes of Sergey, he was a standout player on ENCE yesterday. He was clocking up, I think, 30 kills in the first map and close to that on the second. But the question is, are they going to be able to, is everybody else going to be able to step it up, and will Sergey still be on form here starting things out on Dust?
Yeah, I guess the thing is, as you said, of course, LDLC also didn't have a great day yesterday, so both teams are going to be coming off the back of some pretty poor performances. So they had the time. Normally, when you have a very poor performance, that's when you're really going to go back to the drawing board, look into things, and ensure that coming into the next day, you aren't going to be making those same mistakes. And you would hope that's the case, of course. But Dust2, going into this one, who do you think is going to be looking to be kind of the favored team, or do you think it's going to be one that's completely up in the air?
To me, right now, it's up in the air just based on those weak performances yesterday. It is hard to say. I think LDLC tend to have the better time on Dust2 in general. So I guess you'd give weighting over towards them pulling this map out, but it is hard to say because ENCE, they struggled yesterday. Definitely they will have reset mentally and physically, hopefully. And I think that we're going to see a different team to what we saw yesterday, or at least I hope so.
Something that I am also looking forward to seeing is the potential double up setup over on the LDLC side. Of course, Twanu being the primary upper, Amanek and Devodivek also can both take it out. Normally, I think it is Devodivek who takes it out as the actual secondary upper. So I think that's something we can look towards. On the other hand, of course, for ENCE, it's normally just Alu who takes it out, and he, of course, plays it in a much more passive style.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to work for them here on Dust, though. Like, in general, it means that they'll be able to post Alu to just hold a part of the map and maintain maybe control of long over on A. stuff like that, it gives you that kind of advantage, I suppose, when you have a player that's comfortable not going aggressive, that you know you can leave somewhere and he'll just play for contact and wait. Once you've that part of the map locked down, you can use your other 4 players to try work the rest. I can definitely see LDLC struggling a little bit taking on Alu, because although yesterday he had a weak performance, I think he'll probably he'll probably come in today with a little bit more fire under him, of course, because yesterday they had the whole bounce back. We'll go down to the lower bracket. But here, I think they will have done their prep, and they were also taking Wendigo, who maybe they underestimated a little bit. I don't think they'll do the same for LDLC. LDLC have constantly had those upsets against the big teams. I think this time it's kind of the battle of we discussed it yesterday about ENCE, that they had these big successes and then they fall back down because teams start to take them seriously. I think both of these teams have suffered that, and now they get to face each other.
Yeah, that's really the thing with all teams who are trying to break through from that kind of lower level onto the top level, trying to be consistent contender. Yeah. So I think both of these teams are going to be well prepared coming into this matchup. It's really just who is going to be able to play their game better. I feel like overall, when you look at ENCE, they do definitely have more firepower. They have Sergi and Ariel, who I feel like both yesterday they did show a very solid performance. The thing is, coming into today, they are going to need some help. It's not going to be enough just having those 2 players finding the frags. Well,
yeah, look, it wasn't enough yesterday against Wendigo. I think LDLC are almost a more formidable opponent on any given Sunday up against ENCE. So it definitely will. They will need to step it up. That was the thing that was lacking really yesterday from ENCE. It wasn't massive misplays. It wasn't miscalculations. It was just the fact that they were losing so many aim jewels. Wendigo had them under control, and they gave room to Poison. Which, of course, we've seen a lot of teams fall victim to in recent memory. I think this one, I'm gonna go ahead for predictions, Dean.
Okay, go for it.
How you feeling about it? I'll start with you.
I'm feeling like ENCE are going to take this one 2-0 in all honesty.
2-0?
I feel like they just have a lot more firepower across the board, and I don't think they're going to come in looking as cold as they were yesterday. All
right, fair enough. Well, I would still side with you on ENCE taking this. I'm going to say 2-1, though, just based on the fact that, you know, Dust is a favored map for LDLC, and ENCE have that same kind of swing favor over on Nuke. But look at this. We're into the pistol round, and Alu's already opened things up. He's taken down Alex. He's looking for a little bit more. Being flashbanged, though, as they close in the distance. Still found 2 kills. There's a third with a quick headshot before he eventually falls, but that's more than enough because look at his teammates. They've already rotated in, and now there's only 2 Ts left for them to take down.
Yeah, only Twanu and Amanek to try and save the day now. The Belgian player biding his time at the car, waiting to see if anyone tries to come in on that long flank. But we can see, of course, ENCE, they know they can go ahead and take their time with the 4-on-2 and the bomb yet to be planted. They're just going to be holding. They know LDLC have to try and force the issue. If they try and plant that bomb, it leaves only 1 player to try and hold off a swarm of CTs, which will be near impossible. You can see, of course, they aren't actually 100% aware of where both players are positioned, but look at this from Amanek, going to be able to push up close. Problem is, Sergi was ready down and towards that CT spawn, and suddenly it's all onto Twanu. Seems to be having a couple of issues there, as we actually seen a small little teleport from him, but seems to be all back to normal now. 1v2, but look at the bomb. It's dropped in towards the CT spawn. It's going to be almost impossible for him to retrieve with both players fully focused on this position.
Yeah, indeed. They've got that crossfire set up. He needs the 1-tap potential, so he picks up the USP. And now going to just look for the fights. There's no other way to go about this. The problem is they're playing this a little bit passive, going to bait him down so he's completely in the open and then take him. They can't fully spot the bomb from there, though. There we go. They have the idea, though. They take him down with the CZ.
Yeah, I was going to say, all they have to really do is peek out the second that he got the bomb. It's likely the second he picks the bomb up, he tries to run, just because there's so little time, and if he tries to walk all the way back, it's going to happen eventually that someone does peek out to find the info, and they catch him just walking slow. So it wasn't really too much that could be done there. It was a very difficult position for Twanu, but it wasn't too bad. They're able to at least get a few kills. Sadly, not getting the bomb down. They do actually decide to go for the force buy here, but a scout alongside an SMG and some pistols gives them a chance to try and get the damage done. I was going to say, if Twanu can even just connect damage, it allows for the other players to have an easier time, or he can just go ahead and rip the head off of Sergi, because that works out as well. Ariel up close with an MP7, sadly only able to make it work for a single frag, and Twanu, he's been given the opportunity. Alu taken down low is going to be forced to fall back off, but it's revenge of the scouts as X7 is going to chime in with one of his own.
Well, still into a 3v3. This is better than you would really hope LDLC would be able to pull out of the bag in this kind of a force buy. And that's the problem. Now, going for that force buy in the second round, the economies are still relatively closely matched. I mean, the CZ's in play for LDLC, but they can be a very formidable weapon indeed. You can see that ENCE only have that 1M4 in play, and they've lost another player. Man advantage over towards the T's. Alexi B can't even hold the bomb site by himself. He's got that much covet at M4 as his teammate X7 rotates around through tunnels. Alexi B's only trying to spot them out on the cross and take the long range fights. Oh, the CZs over on short are heard running towards the bomb site itself. Smoke goes down on long. They've got that control. They're pretty comfortable with it. Alexi B's just spotted one going over. There's Alex dropped down. The wall bangs are coming through. Oh my. Okay. Alex is doing
so much damage.
Or Alexi B rather doing all the work with the M4.
Jumped up, got the, I think it was a dink through the box, and then the nade coming in from X7 on short as well. Takes him down even lower. And then a nice little reaction shot to go ahead and flick over towards long. So a great retake comes in, but again, a lot of damage being found. LDLC, sure, they fully invested, so they probably would have hoped for the round win, but it's not too bad being able to find a bomb plant in 3 kills. Gives them the chance, at least into this round, to upgrade some pistols. I would imagine they probably won't fully invest, maybe just get some Tech 9s and CZs out. Again, might try and make it a costly round by dropping 2 or 3 players if possible. That keeps the economy of ENCE in a modest position. And let's see what they're going to actually go ahead and upgrade into this one. So far, it's sticking on the Glocks, but just as I say that, an AK comes out for Twanu. He's going to go ahead and drop that over. They have a Galil as well in play, and they've gone ahead and just fully invested into this one, perhaps feeling confident that they can go ahead and put a stop to ENCE before they can really build up any money. But sadly, to start things off, it is Alu on that AWP. He's gone straight onto it, perhaps expecting the force buy to have come out in this round, and he is able to make it work to already open things up on towards Twanu.
Indeed, he is. Well, look, with Twanu down, they still have some opportunity, of course, with the AK-47 and the Galil. Also a UMP in play. It could certainly get a whole lot worse. And it may just do, as ENCE depend on long. Ariel's able to take down Devil Duvek. And slowly but surely, ENCE are pulling ahead in these rounds. LDLC are starting to lose control of their economy as well. I mean, the loss bonus is building up, but sooner or later they've got to go for an eco. At least you would hope. And the problem is, if they don't manage to take down a couple of players here, ENCE are going to build up a big economy. Alex has made a sound there dropping down. It means that the Molotov's going to be returned pretty quickly. Sergey goes down low, but he's got himself a scout. Doing the damage back. Alex is lit low. And they're all just stuck in the tunnels right now. I mean, LDLC don't really have anywhere to go. Top mid's being watched by Ariel. The B exit also been watched. They can go towards T-spawn, but 25 seconds. It has to be a B hit. They know that. They're just holding down this choke point on the inside right now. Ariel finds him on top mid. There's X7. They were going to go for a split, but as they lose that player, they have to just commit to the bomb site. And although Alexi B does get dropped, it's not the worst because, of course, ENCE getting some upgraded weapons as well. They've only got 1 SMG being carried over. The scout is lost, but Sergey, of course, picking up the M4, so it doesn't really matter. And the thing is now, with not finding too many kills, and certainly in that last round, no impactful kills as they just upgraded a scout to an M4, it puts us in a position where ENCE are starting to build up a sweet spot of economy. And LDLC, like we said, have to go for the eco eventually, and it looks like this is going to be it. Just pistols and armor to come out.
Yeah. They've got the full loss bonus though into the next round at least, so
absolutely,
as you said, they can get out the armor. So there's an opportunity again here for them to try and get something done. Sergey actually going to be going straight onto a second up, which is, I guess, dangerous against these pistols. If the distance is closed in, they could be in for a lot of trouble. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So far, only Davidovek been able to find one. He was instantly traded on. And the lurk from Amanek probably not going to be allowed to get too much done. Maybe he has the chance to catch one player off guard, I was going to say. But it's Alu expecting that flank to be coming in, who goes ahead and shuts it down. A quick 4-0 start comes in for ENCE as they go ahead and get themselves a good control early on here on the map choice of Team LDLC.
And the nice 4-0 lead. Economy built up pretty strongly as well. Double op setup already deployed on the CT side. We were talking a bit about this before. It's Alu and Sergey taking them. Alu not able to find the opening, will give up control of long and slowly make his way back towards the bomb site. A quick flashbang to make sure nobody peeks around that smoke to take him down as he makes his way in towards actually the bottom corner. He's not going to be going on the bomb site itself. With ENCE having control of short, that means that they don't really suffer from losing long control. Generally, you want to take, if you lose short, you take long. If you lose long, you take short. Gives you still a little bit of contention power towards the bomb site.
Yeah, on that CT side, you need specifically either short or long. You can't give up both, otherwise it's pretty much impossible to hold the bomb site. Although for now, although they only have taken short, we do actually see, of course, LDLC haven't really gone for any control for themselves. They're going to be instead trying to focus over towards B, it seems. Just having Alex, I believe that is, trying to show a little bit of presence on short. I guess trying to pull a rotation away, meaning it is going to be actually only X7 with that MP7 to try and hold down the B bomb site. Sergey rotates in to at least snatch away one kill. A second opportunity not being found on towards Amanek, who was able to get himself back into cover just in time, and with that now the bomb should be planted. A 4-on-4 looking to be the case, but as I say that, Sergey actually able to deny the bomb plant through the smoke. Goes ahead and delays things a little bit, allows for his teammates to rotate into position, and this could be very dangerous. They have a bit of utility to try and push forward, a couple of Molotovs and a smoke they can use to maybe block off the tunnels, and this is just going to be so difficult. Look at Alex, he's still all the way back in spawn.
Now, one flashbang would really help them going in for this retake. Of course, they don't know that it's going to be only the 2 players in the bomb site for now, but they'll find out pretty soon because Ariel's coming up behind. He's going to catch them off from tunnels if they're not being a little bit careful. Setting up now. ENCE need to go in pretty soon. Molotovs are deployed. They're trying to catch them out. They're trying to push them into the open. Sergey's got him with the CZ as Alexi B finds that kill. Coming in from the tunnels. Oh, hold on. Ariel's going to go down. What's that from Amanek? He finds a 4K. Somehow, LDLC managed to come out on top in that round.
Yeah, that's the thing about Dust2. The B bomb site specifically is one of the most difficult sites to retake in this entire game. Even with even manpower or man advantage, it's not easy. Just because of those small choke points trying to funnel in through, it gives the opportunity for the multi-kills to be found quite consistently from the T players who are holding it down. And you can see, of course, Amanek does step it up when it's needed. Another buy at least going to be available for ENCE, so they are going to be able to go ahead and try and contest this round. If they can find this one, then of course they will completely shatter the economy of Team LDLC. And this is a nice position from Alu. Completely reads that from Twanu as he tries to jump up and take the peak. That's even the bomb to be dropped in towards suicide. It should be easily retrievable, but early on with a mana disadvantage already for Team LDLC, it puts them heavily on the back foot.
The bomb retrieved, Alex looking to make things happen towards A by the looks of it. As they slowly group up there, they've left Logan towards the B bomb site. Making sure that no aggression comes through for now. He can be used as a bit of a flanky danker later on. That's a little bit awkward. The smoke didn't extend. I didn't completely block the sightline for Alu. Doesn't manage to pick up the kill though, luckily. They know there's an AWP on that bomb site now though, and so grouping up, LDLC need to be very careful about peeking these angles. Smoke goes in, but they're not being careful. Alu's able to pick himself up. One just drops down now as Devon Juvek tries to clear out the bomb site. He spots one over towards short. Alexi B lucky to escape with his life. Only takes a scratch to the back. Oh, the spam comes in through the corner of the smoke. Logan, like we said, comes in on that flank and does find himself one, but unfortunately it's not really a flank anymore because he's in a 1 versus 3. All of his teammates have fallen. And he goes soon after.
Yeah, there was full focus on his position. A good hold coming in. Alu with that second kill specifically being very crucial because he actually dropped the bomb into the cross in between that smoke. It made it very difficult for LDLC to try and retrieve. And as I said, losing that round now, it is going to force them down into a position where they actually have a couple of players on double eco. Davidovec and Amanek, even if they do decide to keep the Glocks into this round, they won't be able to buy in the next one. And Logan likely would be suffering a similar fate, only getting 1900 as well. So he'd be sitting a little bit too low to get the full investment. So it's just very difficult right now. They're likely going to, I would imagine they may just force buy straight into this one. It's normally what happens after you do get reset. But already with a 5-1 lead going to ENCE on the map choice of LDLC, it's just not looking great. It's not a map that's really, I guess, biased towards either side too considerably, but it is, I would say most people may be considering it to be slightly T-sided.
Yeah, indeed. I think the statistics in general show that as well. Yeah. For most teams, they do pick up most of the rounds on the T side. Oh, Twanu again on the scout, tries to get a bit of damage in. He's being let down low, but does connect something on towards Sergey, which will probably prompt him to give that angle up, and indeed it does. Just backing off now over towards the B bomb site. As he's lit down to just 62 HP, he's a one-shot with the scout, but Amanek is a one-shot with the AWP, as is everybody else.
Oh, that was a wild spray from X7. He's very lucky that Sergey was there to actually help him out, otherwise he likely would have fallen without being able to get anything done. Eventually gets spammed through the smoke as Logan on the CZ is able to find one. It shouldn't be a big deal in the overall outcome of the round, though, with it only being Logan and Twanu who do remain, and also, of course, neither player looking very healthy. And we should actually see Ariel likely just been able to cut off this rotation. One frag gifted to him, rather. And with that, it's all on Twanu. A scout, 52 health, and 4 players to try and find. I do not fancy his chances here.
No, and the only damage that they've done on the ENCE side right now, sorry, on the LDLC side, is taking down an SMG. So it's not the worst. Sorry, it's not the best for them. All it means is that, like, presumably they're going to go for the eco in the next round. There won't be that SMG in play. Does manage to tag up aerial, actually. This could get dangerous.
I can feel the scout finishing off aerial at least. Ooh, has a small opportunity here. Somehow not taken down yet, but I feel like the second he tries to actually take a proper fight is when he will go down, and wasn't even needed. Lexi B just going to wrap around and finish him off. 6-1, a round I guess that we did expect ENCE to come out on top of pretty easily, but off the back of being able to claim that one, they do pretty much get themselves a 7th round, as this time I would imagine LDLC probably just going to stick on those default pistols. They don't really have enough money to upgrade on anyone at all. I guess maybe Alex could get himself a pistol. He actually goes for a Deagle and Kevlar. That puts him down to $1,050. Unless they find a bomb plant now, he's going to be a little bit more limited on the buy coming into the next round than everyone else will be. So it's a bit of an interesting decision for him to invest so heavily.
Interesting economic decisions sometimes pay off. Let's see if that's going to be the case. The only player with armor looking to take the fights. He's got to rely on his 1-digs. And unfortunately, armor or not, an AWP bullet to the chest will take you down. The benefit for LDLC, they're making their way towards the bomb site now. They've taken down Alu with the Glocks, and they should be able to get the bomb planted. There we go. That's a bit of bonus money at least. That'll help Alex out a bit. Still, he'll be struggling. For the, that was a little bit awkward. Looked like Alexi B was about to fall, but X7's gone around now, making up for the wild sprays with the jump shots. And the defuse to go in. Only the one player lost. That was Alu on an AWP. Alexi B upgrades to that op to drop it over to his good old friend. And there's 7-1. The Brazil comes out in Europe.
It does indeed. Luckily enough, they do actually get the bomb plant. You can see because of that, Alex had, I believe it was 4,200 roughly, so he's able to get the 8K, a smoke, and a flash to back it up as well. So it's a decent buy coming out from LDLC. They even have the op onto Twanu, but this is where they really need to start picking up some rounds. Now they need to start chaining some together, start getting themselves back into this one. Ideally, they probably would have run around 6 or 7 rounds now at this point on that T side, which is going to be a very difficult recovery for them. As it looks like coming into this round, they are going to start things off a little bit slower. Just going to be a default, perhaps expecting maybe some aggression to come in, getting that initial control through lower tunnels as you would expect. And it seems like they may go ahead and focus that control on towards short, or maybe even out mid in a moment, because that is a position that so far ENCE haven't really been trying to contest up close. Instead, they've been leaving a player back towards B to try and watch it from the window. And also, of course, leaving one in towards maybe CT or the ramp who can spot it out also. But there we go, indeed. The short control to be found. So early on for LDLC, they do manage to get themselves a bit of control across the map, rather.
It's going to be a slow start, though, with that control. They slowly make their way in towards B. The choke point, X7 up close, this time with an M4 instead of an MP9. He knows how to spray that a little bit better. 2 kills found. Goes for the reload safely in the corner, being covered by Sergey, who takes down 1. Although Twanu takes down X7, he's got an AWP. It's a hard weapon to use on that bomb site. Head peeking Sergey gets eliminated in the body somehow. Must have shot his shoulder, I suppose. The bomb goes down. It's a 2 versus 2. And again, we talked about how difficult these retakes can be on B. That was an unintentional pun. In a 2 versus 2 in an even situation, LDLC haven't got enough players to watch all the angles, but Twanu's already spotted out 1, and both players are towards tunnel, so he's going to be watching that angle like a hawk. Spots out the last as well. And it's got to be Alu hitting this shot, or it's all over. He was actually peeking the left side there. Twanu thought he was on the right. Now Alu upgrades the M4, goes up close, but Alex is there with the headshot, takes down Alu, and it's 7-2. Finally another round found for LDLC.
Wasn't quite able to reach it, sadly.
No, it's... I think it was the E button.
No, I just think he didn't reach it in time just because of the end round timer not being long enough for him to actually manage to get himself towards the back of the bomb site.
But Twanu also had utility when he died, and that always makes things difficult if there's a nade anywhere near a weapon and you press E. Sometimes it can mess up a little bit.
Oh, a bit of team damage. Yeah, a little bit of team damage. It wasn't actually the team kill, but It is a 1-for-1 trade. Alex also been taken down low, so ENCE can be, I guess, happy enough with how things go early on, but I guess the problem is they do have to give up the long control. LDLC getting themselves into a pretty solid position, as it looks like they are maybe just going to straight up commit to this A bomb site. But Alu, we've seen him hold this before. Is he going to be able to do it again is the question. Not going to be able to connect the shot first try, at least. He is going to be tagged down low and forced to fall off to a bit more of a passive angle, but it's Sergey on the off to go ahead and chime in. Alex, he's going to be dropped by Aerial. Another jump shot perhaps to be attempted, but this time around it's not going to connect any damage. But a 4-on-2 for ENCE. They put themselves in a great position to try and come into this retake once the bomb's planted. But Devadevek able to go ahead and mow down 2, eventually being traded, but he gives Amanek the chance that he needs. It's a Mach-10 though, not the ideal weapon, and he is going to be finished off by Aerial, who goes ahead and pushes up through the ramp. A defuse to easily be found, and the ops to be retrieved to go ahead and drop those over towards Alu and Sergey. 8-2 again. LDLC pick up 1 round, instantly they get completely reset.
Yeah, this really isn't looking good right now for LDLC, a team that usually thrive over on Dust2, and indeed this is their map pick. Only 2 rounds so far on their T side, and it's not looking like they'll be gaining anytime soon. As you can see, they're going to be on the... Okay. They're going for a force. They've got pistols, the Mach-10. LDLC seem to constantly want to invest into these rounds. They got the bomb plant though, so if they gave a 9th over to ENCE, they would have had an op up, they would have been able to get AKs on everybody. I'm not too sure I agree with this buy, but let's see what they have planned. As they split towards short, it looks like they'll try to take long control as well. The AK-47, of course, on Logan, and the Galil on Devadevek. Let's see what they can do, as Devadevek already finds one onto Aerial. The push towards A will commence.
Alu's in a lot of trouble now. He's too many angles to try and contest with. I was going to say maybe he had a decent position to try and catch them as they ran around the smoke, but Devadevek, of course, going to run straight through the smoke instead, taking a little bit of a different path, the one less expected, and it is going to be another round to be found for LDLC. They've made the force by work, and they barely took any damage in the process. X7 and Sergey do need to save her as well, because actually looking at the economy events, LDLC have done a very good job at keeping that quite low. The reinvestment in this next round, it won't really allow for them to get all the weapons out that they would hope for.
Well, in that round, you could say there were 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Yep. I know, it's a poem.
And LDLC chose the one that was less traveled by. And it worked out for them. They do lose 1 weapon towards the end there. Amanek. Oh, also Logan being taken down. Yeah, but even still, 3 weapons saved over the bomb plant and the round win. Things are looking good. ENCE, of course, have got the economy to get a buy as they've saved over 2 weapons. Aerial can grab 1, but you can see the economy is still struggling a little bit. They'll have 2 players on weaker weaponry. It does look like they will still go for the buy nonetheless. Dropping over a FAMAS, another M4 as well on Aerial, with only 1 MP9. So not actually as bad as I thought. Sergey decides to go for the glass cannon without any utility as well, in order to drop the FAMAS, so it could work out. Oh, sorry, he has got armor. Never mind. The kit threw me off there. Just no utility, so it's not even too bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid. It's actually quite equal to what we see over on the LDLC side, at least in terms of the weaponry, because there's 1 SMG and then the 1 weaker rifle with a FAMAS and a Galil on either side. But look at this from LDLC. They're going to group straight up towards B. X7 on that MP9 is going to have to try and hold it down on his own, at least initially. Able to make it work for 1, and with a dink to be found, it gives Sergey a chance. But as we can see, instant trades. They have no idea that Alu is going to be coming in from behind. He's gifted a free kill. Alex now going to be trapped in towards the back of the site, but he gets himself the double kill. Alexi B and Alu fall, and this round is unraveled now. It's all on Aerial to try and save today. 2 players to find, and I believe he may have just made some sound as he was approaching in from the tunnel. That flash to be thrown in. Alex is, of course, low health, but Devadevek going to be coming from the window as somebody he has to try and deal with as well, and he finds it. Aerial steps it up. Again, it's the individual plays from either side, but ENCE are just about able to edge it out, rather.
It looks like LDLC are facing a bit of difficulty converting these second rounds. You know, they're finding the 1, then being reset, and then they find 1 more, and then they're reset again. Once more, they go for the force buy, as they have in the past. We've seen it work out some of the time. I'd say we're approaching the 50% mark. An auto shotgun on Alu could certainly put a spanner in the works as he pushes up close. He finds opponents with armor, not the friend of the auto shotgun. As it's into a 4 versus 5, LDLC, at least they've only picked up an auto for that. But still, 3 8Ks in play and a deagle. this could certainly become a little bit difficult for ENCE, as they're rocking over 2 SMGs themselves.
Yeah, this isn't the greatest of rounds right now for ENCE, at least not the greatest of starts. I'm going to presume that they didn't expect the force buy to be coming in, otherwise Alu likely wouldn't have got so aggressive. Alexi B, I think he's going to try and take the time in here to actually peek out. Not really going to find all that much damage. Drops Davidovec roughly to half health, but surprisingly he himself not taking any at all. He's going to be allowed to fall back off into a much more secure position outside of long. But he is at least forced to give up that initial control, and it looks like Davidovec and Alex are going to try and push in off the back of this. They want to go ahead and get control towards long. Although the bomb is elsewhere, they are just going to be able to show some presence, try and pull the rotations away. And with a kill from Davidovec, that goes ahead and sells it perfectly. As we can see, the B-bomb site now completely open. Twanu just been able to walk in with the assistance of Amanek, and the bomb is going to be planted. A 5-on-2, and LDLC again are going to be able to go ahead and pull it off with a weaker investment.
Yet again, looks like their force buys are becoming pretty effective, and we see why they so frequently go for those forces. The problem is, ENCE have still got a decent lead. We're coming up on 4 rounds now on the T side, and indeed we should see the 4th being converted. But still, ENCE have got the opportunity. They've got 2 rifles saved over. Their economy isn't going to be looking great, though. And I think that's kind of where the problem stems from. With the fact that there's only going to be 2 rounds after this one, you've got to think, do ENCE want to go for the save? Fight for the 10-5? Or do they want to buy up a couple pistols here? Of course, Ariel and Sergey can drop over.
Double eco anyway, so I don't really think there is much point of them.
Yeah, well, indeed, they wouldn't have the full buy. Yeah, they would be fighting for the FAMASs at best. So it is probably the better idea to just go for the pistols. I like this. Sergey drops over a scout to Alu to try and get that chip damage in to allow X7 and Alexi B to have the impact on the respective CZ and UMP combination. Can be pretty easy to find kills if somebody tags them up with a scout when you've got those weapons. Oh, this is cheeky.
Basically hugging each other in the smoke right now, but look at this. Elsewhere, Amanek able to find themselves 2 opening kills. Alu and Alexi B going to return 1 each, but as we said, of course, they had no idea that Alex was up close in that smoke as well, and the aggression from Alu isn't going to work out. He gets shut down. Suddenly, it's left all onto Ariel. And actually, as he pushes long, Davidovec seems to have a little bit of a read about this one in Inkland. But actually, it's going to somehow work out for Ariel. Finds the 2nd spray down as well, which leaves it now all onto Amanek. The bomb is actually dropped in towards the suicide position. That's going to be difficult to try and retrieve. Ariel, though, I guess the positive is that he doesn't actually have the info about where Amanek is currently positioned or where he could be coming from.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem here. Amanek suspects that Ariel's going to be towards the T-spawn, but you can see Ariel's slowly making his way towards B. Does he commit to the side? Because right now it looks like he's just checking tunnels to make sure that he's not coming over. And yeah, it looks like he's going to go towards the side. Perhaps a bit of a gamble. I think Amanek will probably expect him to be on A at this point. He was last spotted pushing out long. He found 2 kills. But no, Amanek instead wants to go towards A long, and it works out for him. The mind games from both players. Neither of them have any idea where the other is. Thing is, Amanek's going to give away his position once he goes for that bomb plant.
Yeah, going to be making his way up long, although he is taking his time, so this gives a chance. If Ariel managed to get that peek in from CT, which he actually has positioned himself now for, he has a nice opportunity, but Amanek going to go ahead and take that duel from a much more secure position. He peeks from him behind the car, gives him the chance with only his head exposed, and he goes ahead and wins it out. It is LDLC to find themselves a 5th round. And as we said, of course, ENCE now coming into this one, they're going to have to just force in. Final round of the half, it's not going to be a great buy. Going to be limited mostly to just pistols. As LDLC have done a pretty good job at recovering this into a half that they can be fairly happy with. If they bring it up to the 6th round, especially, then they're in a pretty solid position. Well, let's see, because a long rush is going to be coming in. The nades to do damage to pistols now to go ahead and chime in as well. Sergey finds that opening kill, but Davidovec, he pulls back 1 at least before he tries to fade away, and he actually is able to follow it up in a second. That aggression from ENCE not working out. And with that, it is going to be a man advantage for LDLC. But I guess one positive is they've got that AK on Ariel at least.
Always an upside, with Logan and Davidovec being so low as well. That could cause a couple of problems. Not just yet, it won't, as Amanek's the one leading the charge towards B. But hold on, out comes Logan. What? Okay, not a single bullet connected.
11 health, didn't manage to connect a single 5-7 bullet there.
A little bit awkward.
More than a little bit, I would say.
And he only needed the 1. Yeah, then he could refocus his attention.
In the chat right there.
Do I?
Yeah, it was Alu.
Easy friends.
Or bot Alu.
Oh no, we don't need to be.
God Alu.
Don't need to be calling him out.
Oh, we're not calling them out. That's what happens. You know Twitch chat. Bot Alu, God Alu.
Of course.
It changes from round to round. But there we go.
God Aerial, though, across this whole series, and indeed yesterday as well.
Yeah, 16-6 right now.
He's been stepping it up, and the last series as well, he was the one that kind of shone through alongside Sergey as a consistent fragger. And right here, I mean, there's no doubt about that. 16 for 6. He's been such a pivotal part of this team. Unfortunately, he hasn't got a spin bot, so we can't find all 3 of those kills. Maybe not unfortunately. It'd probably be a little bit awkward if he did.
Nice short Mitch, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking, yours looks kind of familiar. I feel like I've seen it before.
Yeah. Let's move on, though.
Anyways.
Yeah, 9-6. LDLC, I think they'll be pretty happy with being able to pull it back into that position, but of course this upcoming pistol round, as always, is going to be pretty important. If we see ENCE take it, they'll get off to a pretty solid T-side. As we said, traditionally is a map that's slightly biased towards that T-side, not massively, but at least a small amount, and I feel like that is overall where ENCE tend to do a bit of a better job. Sergey and Aerial can be kind of let off the leash a little bit more, and Alu can be kind of their support with that AWP to go ahead and just kind of sit in behind them and chip away at anyone that tries to take them down.
Yeah, look, I think ENCE moving over to their T side are going to be a formidable foe. We've already spoken about how, in general, Dust2 tends to feel like a very T-sided map for most teams. If you look at the statistics of round wins, it's generally the T side that shines through for them. And so coming into this matchup, you know, I expect as we swap sides, ENCE with a 9-6 lead should be enough for them to close it out. I'm starting to lean towards that kind of 2-0 because, of course, moving over to the next map of Nuke, it's a map that ENCE like. It's a map that we've seen a couple of mistakes from LDLC yesterday. And also, of course, Mirage even was one where they didn't do too well. I think it was on Nuke in particular. Let me just double check. It was, yeah, 4 rounds on the CT side they managed to claim. Now, that was the second half. But they gave 7 over to the T's before losing the game. So it is a situation that I think LDLC need to take this map. This is something that then they'll have at least 2 chances to try and falter ENCE. But moving through this one, it's going to be a very, very difficult half to connect. I think the pistol round is going to be pretty pivotal for these Frenchmen.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like coming into this one, Dust2 was a must-win for LDLC. The other 2 maps, as you said, would be a little bit of a struggle. They maybe would have had a chance to close out one of them, but it's looking difficult now. But we're into the pistol round. Over on that CT side, it's Amanek to buy a defuse kit, everyone else on the Kevlar, and it looks like ENCE are going to be preparing for a pretty quick B attack as they actually just pile straight through the smoke. Logan is going to have to try and hold that one down. He gets dropped immediately, and now it's all onto Twanu. He's going to be forced back through the doors as the smoke goes down. Amanek from the window not going to be able to spot out too much either as the bomb is going to be planted, and a very difficult retake is going to be a hand now for LDLC, but there's a quick headshot to be found from Amanek. Goes ahead and gives them somewhat of a chance now, and opening, and actually with a couple of players low, this is very doable. Alu, I was going to say, in a perfect position to cut off the rotation. He'll be dropped quickly, and with that now, ENCE are on the back foot, looking to try and force the issue as they push in towards middle, and it's just not going in their favor. The USP is to find the frags everywhere so far, but Sergey and X7, they managed to recover it, 2 kills each, and again, the team with the massive disadvantage hold down that B-bomb site on the after plant.
Yeah, look, you saw them getting aggressive, and I was getting a little bit worried. We always talk about the B site. Like, you've got Glocks against USPs. When they push in for the retake, it's going to be so hard for them to win out those close-range battles. ENCE had such a heavy advantage. Pushing out, trying to force the issue, like you said, I didn't feel like that was a good decision. But Sergey and X7 pull off the round in spectacular fashion. Nothing but heads being found. The CSGO equivalent of nothing but net. Smoke goes down towards top mid. Devojivek is going to be safe, actually, from tunnels, so he can focus his attention towards the top and middle. They're spamming on through to try and catch him off. And he is going to fall back eventually.
A ballsy play there from Alu. He was able to just find that opening kill. Knows they're up against the Eco, of course, so I guess he was going to just trying to scout out if they had a bit of a stack, I suppose. As they know now, of course, the final player is positioned on B, but I don't think they're very worried about that one. Sergey goes ahead and finishes him off. So, perfect anti-eco. They don't lose a single player over on the ENCE side, but of course, this is where now the buy is going to be able to come in from LDLC. And with 3 SMGs having been brought into that previous round, it's likely they're going to keep them in play for this one, which means, of course, in terms of the weaponry, at least, LDLC do have the stronger buy. Not when you look at the utility, obviously.
No, not with the utility at all. But the thing is, they've got a couple of smokes. They can still delay the teases they push on in. And already, actually, Alex is finding the opening. That was over towards long. A very quick push coming out. As LDLC maintain control of that area. Now ENCE are in a position they've got to decide what they want to do. They know there's a player up close on long. Oh no, Dust2 up on top of the blue bin. There's absolutely nothing that can be done about that. Into a 3 versus 5. ENCE playing it as a bonus around the course. They're looking now to get as much damage as they can. They've already lost a lot of weapons. They're down to 2 SMGs and an AK-47. Still lots of utility to play with, and there's practically nothing on the LDLC side.
As long as they don't let 5 players survive, then they can be somewhat happy with this round. They are going to be able to reinvest in the following. So really the goal for these remaining 3 players is, of course, to still try and win the round, but if they can drop 2 or 3, get a bomb plant as well in the process, they could be somewhat happy. But let's see. Dust2 alongside Twanu are going to be in position to try and hold down the A bomb site, as it does look like it is going to be the target for ENCE. They've grouped up on short with 2 players. I was going to say they did have Alu on long, but he's going to wrap back around, and they're just going to try and push together off of the back of this one. And let's see how it's going to go for them. Going to need to connect some quick headshots if they want to give themselves an opportunity to open up this bomb site. And I like this. The smoke towards CT, they're going to go ahead and flash in to try and go for the drop, but it's not going very well because Dust2 is just completely shutting it down with the assistance of Alex. And it is going to be that first gun round going towards LDLC on the second half.
Yeah, Devo was suffering towards the beginning of the game. Struggling, I should say. But it seems like he's picked it up now. Ever since they've got a stabilized, or somewhat stabilized economy there, he's looking a lot better. In the rounds where they have AKs, he does the job, but just doesn't tend to perform too well on those SMGs, it seems. And you don't really expect players to be performing very well on SMGs in general up against full rifles. And speaking of full rifles, ENCE have got them out. An AWP on Alu. It's Amanek trying to find the opening peak, the opening pick towards middle. Doesn't find it with the AUG, so just falls back over to B. A 2-man stack on the bomb site of B and 3 on A. Thing is, LDLC are now prime candidates for a B split, and if that comes through, ENCE could be finding themselves a very easy bomb site.
Yeah, that is the issue. Twanu only has the M4 as well over towards A to try and watch that short cross, so if we do see ENCE take it up short, then it's going to be pretty difficult for him to actually find the kills. He'd likely just be forced to fall back off and play for the retake. But as we can see, a little bit of focus on towards middle. Dust2 going to try and push forward through the smoke. Going to be blinded off of the angle pretty much immediately. That gives the chance for Aerial to go ahead and push forward. But it is just a little bit of a fake, and it's not really going to work out. Too many players for him to try and contest with. And now Twanu finding the info that the commitment is going to be coming in elsewhere as they push towards A. Sergey going to take a quick kill on the Dust2. And now, as I said, Twanu just going to be forced to fall back off and play for the retake.
ENCE play it very well. You could see LDLC were worried about the split going over towards B, so Twanu rotated down towards the CT spawn to cut them off if they did try to split that bomb site. Oh, Alu peeks out, takes down Alex. This has got to be a save from this point forward. Surely, you haven't got a whole lot of money. Oh, they do manage to take him down, though. That could be the kill that they need. X7 is kind of isolated towards Gandalf. He's being shot at as well, not able to land. Oh, no, with Twanu finding that kill. Now things get very awkward indeed. He's going to eventually be dropped. The trade goes in, and still in the advantageous position with the bomb planted for short. And with only Amanek left, he's sticking the defuse. Sergey knows it and takes him down. Yeah, see, LDLC rotated Dust2 down through CT. He was worried about the B split. Once the smoke went down, he pushed the opposite side of the smoke, make sure they're not pushing through mid. Then from that point, ENCE just pushed towards A, and there's nobody on the bomb side. Because they were holding long, they'd given up short control. ENCE have that read. They know once there's a player down towards CT that the bomb side should be clear. And indeed, it was only the one player watching the cross.
It was a bit dangerous from X7 to take that duel, though. I don't know if it was needed.
Yeah.
He probably could have just stayed in Gandalf because he had the 2 players on short who could watch his close push. They could have played a little bit of a crossfire time on the bomb, was already getting low. So it was risky, but it worked out in the end. 12-7 now for ENCE. It's LDLC who are forced down to a pretty weak buy. They get what they can. It's 2 scouts, a couple of Deegs, and a UMP. And ENCE are going to be taking up the pace in this round, it seems. Going to be quickly making their way out mid. A split towards that B-bomb site going to be what they aim for. And although Dust2 does find one, it's an instant trade from Sergey, but Amanek and Logan are still going to be prepared on this B-bomb site. ENCE have actually been heavily slowed down. This could get very dangerous. Going to be making their way through, but they continue to lose the players. And Amanek on the scout makes it a triple kill for himself, as it is going to be LDLC coming out on top of the force buy. And now it's ENCE who are actually going to really struggle with the economy.
Yeah, see, it was risky for X7 to take the peak in the previous round. And the thing is, they do get punished for it. As he had fallen, they went into that round with 2 SMGs. And losing it out now, 12-8, they're forced onto a pretty poor buy because they'd fully invested into the previous round. putting themselves onto... Oh, they're still buying.
Yeah, a bit of miscommunication. LXEV just bought a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, so they've got the 2 AKs though, nonetheless. So it's not as bad as maybe it could have been. Sergey on the Scout. I mean, as soon as Sergey bought the Scout, they pretty much had to full buy. There's no way you're gonna take an eco while your teammate has $0 in the bank.
Yeah, it was. I believe Sergey had bought up and sold X7, and then eventually the others bought up as well. But it was just a little bit of a miscommunication, I suppose, rather. But let's see if they can make this work. ENCE are looking to try and get some revenge. They themselves now on the weaker buy, hoping to try and open things up. It was Ariel on the Deeg to look for it, but of course he ends up being on the receiving end of the bullets instead. It's Alex who takes him down. And already a 5-on-4 going to be favouring the French side. I guess you could say Francophone side, because they do of course have some Belgians, or at least one, in the form of Twanu. But another kill to be found. It's Ariel and LXEB already being eliminated off of the ENCE esports side. And with that now, it's not looking good. They have to try and manage to recover things here. They only have the 1 AK and now a Deeg in play. Amanek has a flank as well, pretty much a free kill from behind. And X7 isn't going to be able to get much done at all. It is LDLC to go ahead and take that one with 4 players alive.
Yeah, with Devil Duvek being pushed up so aggressively on A long as well, he was all the way through at the second set of doors. So they have that complete control. They don't need to dedicate 2 players towards it. They don't even need a second player near it to flashbang for him. So as he's there holding that information, they can just swarm over towards mid. They can come on the B flanks. They can push up short. They can do whatever they want. And it's perfect. It frees up so many more players having that solo long control. Unlikely to come in this round, though, as Devil Duvek has already taken down 1 on long, and he knows that they're on a weak buy, that the pistols will be coming out. You don't want to take the close range battles, and that's why we see the AUGs taking everything. Amanek eventually switching over to the Deeg when he runs out of ammunition. And no bomb plant to be found as Alu's dropped on short. A very swift round, as you would expect up against the Glocks on Dust2. There's not a whole lot that you can really do with the Glocks on Dust2. Team LDLC build up a very, very convincing economy at the moment. They'll easily be able to get a buy if they lose 1 round, while ENCE aren't quite in that position. 5 AKs on the board, and 12-10, this scoreline is getting close. A pause is called. We're not too sure for which team, but I would imagine at this point it's ENCE.
Yeah, most likely. They had at one point a 9-3 lead, if I remember correctly, and it's really beginning to slip away now. There's only 2 rounds in the difference. They have the buy coming out now, meaning if they don't come out on top of this buy round, then they'd likely have to eco again, and LDLC will be able to equalize the scoreline. So this is when ENCE need to go ahead and discuss things now. They'll, of course, be talking about LXEB is the in-game leader over on that ENCE side. You'd expect him to be doing the majority of the talking. And again, it is Sergey who leads the way quite massively over on that ENCE side. He's currently sitting at 23-13. Ariel just behind them on 19-13. And then I suppose everyone else is pretty close as well. It's not like anyone else is massively trailing behind. On the other hand, though, over on the LDLC side, there is Logan who's struggling just a small amount at 9-18. And it's actually Amanek who leads the way quite convincingly.
Not surprising. I mean, Amanek has had some very nice plays so far. We've seen his flanks come into fruition as well. On the AUG, the only player to take it up in the L. Ooh, that's a bit of team damage. A little bit awkward as Ariel finds the kill on the Devin Duvek. LDLC are forced off of long, or at least they should be. Twanu, the Belgian operator, going to be able to take down Ariel, and he's looking for more around the smoke, trying to spot out some feet so that he can take some chests. But Alex falls on short. This is a little bit awkward now. Smoke goes down. Alu knows that he can make his way over there. Make some progression towards that bomb site. They're distracted, but Twanu and Amanek find all the kills. Twanu's very low. The headshot connected, so it doesn't even matter that he was low. Problem is the bomb's down. Luckily, Logan not in a position to find any kills from it. We said he was struggling so far. Let's see if he's going to be able to clutch this one out. He's got a sight line on the bomb at this point. X7's in a lot of trouble because he's not even checking long.
Oh, and the timing being a little bit unfortunate. They're not able to turn around in time. The spray just not quite being on point. And it is going to be another gun round going in favor of LDLC. As I said off the back of that now, we should see an equalized scoreline. If ENCE had been able to at least get that bomb planted, we would have seen them buy into this one, but it's not going to be allowed. Just pistols and Kevlar gives them a chance to at least try and continue to make it costly. Of course, LDLC haven't been able to build up much economy, but they've gone ahead and done a great job recovering this from initially what was a 3-9 scoreline, as they were looking perhaps even, I would say, a little bit distraught at one point. Everyone now beginning to step it up, as against the pistols you'd expect a pretty easy time, and that is indeed the case. A complete wipe. The round is over before it had barely begun.
And another pause comes on through. No doubt going to be ENCE going in for that. We said LDLC, you know, going in on that single op setup. It's only Twanou taking it. Meanwhile, ENCE have been the ones to deploy the double ops. Interesting. It's going to contrary to what we would have expected coming in. With Sergey on and over on the CT side alongside Alu. At times, anyways. Yeah, they do it a decent amount over on the ENCE side as well, but normally I'd expect LDLC to, just because, just in general, Davidovek and Amanek are also both very strong oppers. Twanou, he's been kind of, at least for a long time, he was kind of hailed as one of the up-and-coming oppers, but I guess his main issue has always been the consistency. He's never really been able to keep that. I believe kind of the moments where he's shown through the most is back in the LDLC White days, if I remember correctly, back in like 2015, when he played alongside the likes of Body, and I'm not sure who else he was with at the time, but I remember it was Body and a couple of other players that you would recognize. I believe Alex may have been on that lineup as well. But here we go, a very crucial round here for ENCE. If they can't pick this one up, the game is going to begin to slip away from them. I feel like at this point they're beginning to sweat a little, because, as we said, they had such a massive advantage, and since swapping over to this T side, we haven't really seen them find very much at all. No, it's been pretty weak, and again, contrary to what we would have expected, we thought that ENCE were going to be dominant on their T side, if anything, but LDLC coming back into it, making far less mistakes, and winning out far more aim duels. I think the opening kills have just consistently gone their way in these rounds that they're winning. Although they've also shown the ability to pull things back whenever it's needed. Alu going in for the peek here with the AWP. He's got to be so careful. Twanou's watching that angle. Patiently holding down on it. Alu toying with the idea of going for the peek. Doesn't use a flashbang, gets lit down. Luckily, it's a wall bang. So he goes only to 20 HP instead of that complete 100 damage. Even still, though, it's not going to be easy with 20 HP. It's an easy kill for any of those M4s to pick up. No nades in play, luckily, for LDLC, so they won't be finding two easy kills. Alexi B able to pick up one, but his teammates are falling all around him, and he, too, goes down pretty soon. It's all Sergey and Alu, low HP on the Opper as well. He's going to be taken out so easily by Amanek on the AUG, and although the trade goes in, it's still a 1v3 for Sergey. Utility almost all used up, but they don't even need it, as Davidovek takes all the headshots. It's 13-12, and LDLC have just claimed themselves the lead here on Dust2, fighting for their place in that minor. And of course, the next two maps being Nuke and Mirage, they're heavily favored towards ENCE, especially considering the performance of LDLC yesterday on both of those maps. So this is a pivotal one for them.
Yeah, but then again, we haven't really been seeing great performances from ENCE all around. It hasn't really mattered on what map. Sure, they had a good start here on Dust2 and picked up that initial 9-3 lead. But since then, they've struggled so much. The only rounds they picked up on this T side were off the back of the pistol, because they got themselves the pistol in the round afterwards. Then they won the first gun round, if I remember correctly, and then kind of struggled against the pistols and got taken down. So it's just not going well for them at all. It's looking very troublesome right now. They have another buy coming in here, but if they aren't able to make this one work, and if they aren't able to at least get a bomb plant, then we likely will see Team LDLC going ahead taking themselves map point. Reminder though, it is the map choice of LDLC, so I guess it isn't too unexpected that they come out with a victory here on Dust2, but I feel like if they can carry this momentum onto the second map, we could see them have a pretty good opportunity to try and take this one 2-0, and already Davidovek opens things up. Sergey falls, the man who has been kind of giving us some hope for ENCE, and Alu as well going to be the one who tries to follow it up, and all he does is follow him to the grave.
Well, ENCE certainly seem to be going to the grave, at least on this T side, on a regular basis. With the 3 AKs left in, they've got to find 5 kills between them. Not a whole lot of opportunities being presented. Amanek finds himself an opening towards the window over on B. And LDLC are playing this together. You know, they're playing for the trades. At least they were. Alex has started to rotate towards B. He's playing in mid now. Suspecting that ENCE will take a hit towards there. ENCE instead going towards short, where Twanu's going to be holding down the AWP, able to find himself an opening onto Alexi B, dodges that flashbang. He's there for the second, doesn't hit the shot, and he's down to just 1 HP. At this point, he should just hide and let his teammates take the fight. Doesn't do so, so he gets taken down by young Ariel. Unfortunately, young Ariel is going to die young, as he gets taken down straight afterwards. The push came over towards short as LDLC quickly flocked towards the position of the T's to find those frags, and 14-12. Again, look at the economy for LDLC. They're not in a position where they're going to be reset anytime soon. Pushed down to an eco, whereas ENCE at the moment are in that position. They've got armor and pistols, a small amount of utility on a couple of players, and outside of that, nothing to work with. And already one player down to start things off with Amanek shooting people through smokes. Why not?
Yeah, it's a pretty good start indeed for LDLC. Sergey going to be able to run through though and get a quick trade on Devin Vec. Twanu and Alex playing up close on long. They do want to try and actually contest this. It could get dangerous with pistols up close specifically. Sergey actually retrieving himself an M4, but a nice flash comes in, completely blinded, not able to get any vision. Ends up getting taken down. Although the trade does come in, it's Twanu who continues to struggle, and eventually it's Alu on that dig to go ahead and chime in with 2. This is the best it's looked for ENCE in quite a while here on this T side, as it's going to be left onto Logan to try and save the day in a 1-on-2. Is he going to be able to get it done is the question. Already gets the first headshot. It's all on Alu now, and he's still yet to retrieve a weapon. Only working with that deagle. He's been spotted on the ramp, and the bomb over on long. He has to try and retrieve it eventually, but he wants to try and take the fight, and he gets it. Logan somehow not able to connect those shots. It is going to be ENCE finding themselves a lifeline off the back of just the pistols.
And not a moment too late. They were fighting for an overtime at that point. I mean, they'd gone down to the eco. They were going to get the full buy when LDLC had 15 and try to win 3 in a row. Now, if they can win 3 in a row with this full buy, they find themselves the victory on map number 1 and an almost assured victory in the best of 3. This will do huge strides for ENCE if they win this one, whereas if LDLC win, it just gives them a chance because they'll have 1 out of 2. They'll only need 1 out of 2 with the next 2 maps in which ENCE are favored. I feel like LDLC going for the buy here, probably inevitable. And of course, with the amount of economy they've got built up, I wouldn't be surprised if this was just ENCE calling that timeout, because again, if they lose this round, it's over. They're going to be reset with practically no money. Alu, luckily, doesn't have to buy up, so he's got 5k, but nobody else has anything, so they'll have practically nothing to work with. This could be the victory for LDLC if they just find this 1-round win.
Oh, did they hear the footsteps from lower tunnels is the question. I think Ariel may have been in a position to hear the fact that Alex is getting aggressive on mid. You can see Alu is being cautious of this, but is he going to be aware that Alex has been able to actually creep all the way up into suicide? He's going to have a chance now to just go ahead and catch these players off guard. The flanking towards long is going to be possible. But let's see, is it going to be expected from ENCE is the question. Oh, and actually, yeah, it is. Sergey comes back out and just instantly rips his head off. Going to be able to take down Alex. A man advantage to be found for ENCE early on. And Twanu, as he was waiting for that peek in towards lower tunnels, it's never going to be given to him. You can see there was, of course, 2 players up close, but they decided it's best not to go for it. Aware, of course, that it was potential that they may have gotten aggressive on short after they saw that one player pushed up on mid. Yeah,
indeed. You expect that he's not going to be alone on mid in the aggression generally. If there's mid aggression, there's also going to be that over towards A as well. And so LDLC probably in the right mind going for a save, because of course the B side is going to be taken over, and the retake with a man disadvantage, not something you want to be messing with.
Yeah. Well, it's a gamble, not particularly a save, but it likely is going to be the save. They will decide on it once they realize that it is, of course, the B commitment.
I would hope it's a VP, you know, stack up a bomb site and then save if they don't go there. Gun barrel spotted. Did Alu notice? I don't think he noticed. He saw the gun barrel. It's a little awkward. That's the AWP going to be dropped then, as everybody in the LDLC side is there to take that fight. They find it without giving Alu a single frag, so they're in a 4v4. They could go for this retake if they want. Looking at the economy, I think it's time to go for a save at this point. But again, it's tempting, right? It's that tempting mistress. If they win this one, they've pretty much won the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have some form of a chance, but the problem is with not being able to get a kill within the first couple of seconds. I guess what their hope was that ENCE would maybe think they were saving and try and hunt them down, send some players out and give them an opening, but it didn't happen, of course. It's going to be 14-14 now. I'm glad they saved. They're going to have a very solid buy still into this next round, and it means it is going to be coming down to the last round no matter what. There is going to be 30 rounds. The question is, are we going to see one of these teams closing out with a 16-14, or could we potentially be looking at an overtime?
Taking a look at the economy of both teams, if LDLC win this round, it could definitely be an overtime, as ENCE will still have the money to buy again. But if ENCE win, again, heavy investment from LDLC into utility means that they won't really have a whole lot of money. So I would expect if LDLC win, overtime is quite likely, quite possible. But if ENCE win, it should just be that straight up 16-14. A very important round for LDLC. They know they've not got a whole lot of money in the next round. Alex finds a Molotov kill onto Aerial, closing the distance, gets the spam through the smoke. X7 eventually trades, but he's taken down directly afterwards. And that pushes us into a 3 versus 2. More specifically, pushes ENCE into a 2 versus 3 as Alu creeps over towards long. He's looking for an angle onto Twanu, who he suspects to be over towards that car, and the peek comes in. The kill's found, but he's in a 1v2. He's got to find both kills. Glock in hand, rather. Nades not quite landing too much damage. Makes his way over towards long, though. I don't think he's been spotted going over there. He's not going to be expected up this close. Misses the shot, though. It's 15-14. ENCE have one final attempt, and it's not going to be a full buy. At least not the easiest of ones.
Yeah, Olive is going to be put down to a weaker weapon, but I think everyone else should be able to find the AKs if they want. Aerial not going to get a lot of utility behind it. And it's unlikely they find enough unless someone wanted to go for a glass cannon, and really the only person who could go for it, of course, is Sergey. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it should be a decent enough buy overall. Are we going to see ENCE being able to take this round, though, and take it into overtime is the question, or are LDLC going to be successful in that initial comeback? It was looking like they got a little bit complacent there once they got up to 14. That's the case, I suppose, with a lot of teams. When you get up so close to that finish line, maybe you get a little bit too comfortable, and you don't try and play for the win as much. You play not to lose, perhaps. But let's see. The pause, it is going to be removed. ENCE have had a little bit of time to talk over things. And as we said, the only weakness being, of course, that Alu is put down to that weaker weapon with a Deagle in play.
And LDLC with the double op setup at last, and Manic has got it. Twanu as well. Utility is looking pretty fly. As ENCE take control of bottom middle. Oh, swap goes over. Now Logan's got the op. The Manic is taking the M4. Because Logan, of course, is going to be looking over towards tunnels, making sure that they don't push in through there. So the long range AWP, of course. Pretty helpful on angles like that. Twanu holding down short on the op. 2 players towards long. A pretty standard setup on the CT side. The question is, where are ENCE going to be taking things? And by the looks of it, it's towards A. Stacking up on short to go in for the control. Twanu's able to find one and then back off straight away. Now ENCE are feeling a little bit stagnant. Smoke goes down on the CT cross towards B. But ENCE are not going towards B. They're in T-spawn, and it looks like long is going to be their target.
Yeah, it looks to be the case indeed. Alu, he's going to be the one coming up through short, so it is going to be a bit of a split on towards this A-bomb site, but with a man disadvantage, it's going to be difficult. They're going to pretty much need to take down Devidevec without taking any casualties. He has the assistance from Twanu on the op on the long corner, who's already gone ahead and taken down one, so a 5-on-3. The chances of ENCE are looking slimmer and slimmer by the second, as it seems like LDLC may just be able to go ahead and close it out here on Dust2 to take themselves a 1-0 lead, as it's all onto Alu. We've seen him do this before, but it's with the op when he was able to find that ace clutch coming up through short. I don't know if it's going to happen this time around. Logan and Twanu are at least low on health, but there's just too many players for him to deal with. He gets finished off by Amanek, and it is in the end LDLC to take themselves the win 16-14 here on Dust2. It was their map choice, but it was looking pretty hopeless at one point when we seen, of course, ENCE get themselves the 5-0 start, eventually keep the resets coming in and bring it up to 9-3, and then they just crumbled.
Yeah, and again, it's the same story, right? Sergey and Aerial doing all the work on the T side, at least the heavy carrying for the most part on Sergey. And Amanek, he stepped it up. He finished out on 30 kills, found the 30th there in the last round to close it out. And a strong performance all around. I mean, LDLC are feeling like a strong team right now in Dust2, but the problem is, right, for me, looking at Mirage and Nuke, where they found 3 rounds on the T side of Mirage yesterday, 4 rounds on the CT side of Nuke. They lost 16-9 and 16-10 respectively. It's going to feel like a kind of a worrying situation for them. At least they found the first map, which gives them a little bit of momentum moving into the next, and they've got 2 attempts to close out this series up against ENCE. Yeah,
they do indeed have 2 attempts, and we're going to go ahead and see the first of those coming up just after we take a quick break, guys. It'll be Nuke, but for now we are going to go ahead and send it on over to a break.